Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla Bellamy, and I'm a bassoonist and university level studio applied professor. And I'm here to talk with you today about my 5-step process that I go through personally in order to ethically and responsibly diversify curriculum when working with student musicians. The first 3 of these take place before the repertoire is even introduced to the students, and the last 2 are active engagement processes. So step number 1 is the step that I call identify, and that requires a lot of information gathering. It's taking a look at our program or our studio, as the case may be, and identifying different achievement levels. This may look like grade levels in a lot of public school and private school curriculum, but you're identifying different levels of achievement for your student, and within those levels, looking at your entire repertoire that is standard repertoire for that practice and categorizing what identities are already reflected there. And from that point, we can identify some gaps in terms of historically underrepresented composer voices and levels of repertoire. Step number 2 is the step I call research. That's also another information gathering step, and it's based on the gaps that we identify in step 1. You've identified certain communities that you want to represent more centrally in your curriculum for different levels of student ability, and now we need to go find that music. Step number 3 is what I call test, and that involves taking the new repertoire that you have found, returning back to those achievement levels as you identified in the first step, and making sure that we have new music assigned to appropriate levels of the student. So after we've already done step 3 and tested this, we're sure that it's going to be well suited for the individual groups of students that we're working with. Then we move on to step number 4, which I call implement. And very simply, that is presenting the new music to students and teaching, allowing them to perform, engage with the repertoire. I think the ethical component of this is making sure that we're introducing this new music and introducing the composers of the new music with the same amount of information as our standard repertoire. So all composers are treated equal. We're treating them equally. We're treating them all like humans. And all of them have information that is delivered to students regarding their identity. This could be gender identification and preferred pronouns, methods of pronouncing their name. And at this point, we end up at step number 5, which requires the most patience. Step number 5, I call normalize. And this is the process of making equitable and inclusive treatment of composers the norm in your curriculum. And by definition, this is something that takes time. In order for something to register as normal to our school or our studio, it has to be something that we've done more often than we have not done it. So by definition, this means that you're going to have to do this for roughly 50%, if not more, of a student's experience within your program. But over time, we create a pattern of inclusion and a pattern of equity and a pattern of representing historically underrepresented voices that becomes the standard for your program. Thank you for your interest in this topic, and please feel free to reach out if you have any suggestions or questions. I'm always excited to engage in conversations like this, and I hope you enjoy the article.